Howdy, folks. This is another episode of the Chug Life Podcast, and I'm your host, Michael Vega. Today we have some very gruesome topics to discuss and a lot of events that will make some people very unhappy to hear about. And it's par for the course at this time. And the United States of America, currently, we have devolved into a banana republic of sorts. And these are the effects. And at the end of the day, we have to show this stuff. We have to discuss it. And I hope you guys will join me in learning about these events. And all of this, of course, has to relate to ICE, and it is emblematic of the bigger problem within the federal government currently, but it's just another thing to keep hitting on and just see how this devolves into insanity. And unfortunately, we're at that point where we're starting to see tactics that are incredibly similar to what you would see in a war zone and what you would hear from people that are being interrogated by enemy combatants and, just POW stories, essentially. And we're talking about the detainees that are being taken up by ICE and housed wherever and done whatever to. And as much as we want to have some rose-tinted glasses while we're looking at this subject, there unfortunately isn't any good side to this, really. There isn't anything a shred of hope past the fact that we know it. So in the fact that we know it, we must discuss it. We should share this and alert the folks as to what could happen to you. And we're going to head into this story, ladies and gentlemen. So you have been warned. It's not the fact that is safe for work. It's the fact that you are going to be listening to some stuff that is very upsetting. And we're going to be discussing events of sexual assault within detainee centers very quickly in comparison to some of the other topics. But this just paints the bigger picture. And we're going to go into this. So this is from the ACLU. At the largest immigration detention site in the country, officers beat up Samuel, a detained teenager who uses a pseudonym, so badly he had to go to the hospital. His right front tooth broke, and he said, "One officer grabbed my testicles and firmly crushed them, while another forced his fingers deep into my ears." He added that weeks after the beating, damage to his left ear was so severe that he now has trouble hearing. So we're going to continue here, and I'm, used to doing a little bit of commenting here and there, but I want to digest this full story and then break it down a little bit. So that way we can all kind of really just take in this brutal testimony. Samuels is just one of dozens of accounts of abuse from the immigration detention site at the Fort Bliss military base in El Paso, Texas. These accounts reveal an unfolding humanitarian crisis at the military base, one which may spread across the country as the Trump administration expands detention dangerously, recklessly, and with unprecedented speed. Human rights organizations, including, and then it cuts out because we're kind of discussing a specific event here. Um, Extreme and unlawful use of force is also prominent at Fort Bliss. Several detained individuals have described violent assaults by the officers, including sexual abuse. Ignacio, Samuel, and others report officers crushing their testicles during beatings, a tactic used while people were already restrained or after they refused coerced removal to Mexico. Abel, Benjamin, and Eduardo also reported being slammed, stomped on, or beaten when they expressed fear of being sent to Mexico or when they simply requested their medication. These are not isolated incidents. They reflect the pattern of brutality that violates even ICE's minimal standards. It's horrific, guys. I know. It's just nightmare fuel. Truly. Like, this is stuff of nightmares. But I just need to keep reminding myself at this point that we are listening about this. We are talking about this. So our shred of hope, and I know I said that there really isn't any here, but our shred of hope is that we are hearing about these people's experiences with ICE. And hopefully this can wake people up, man. I mean, it's just terrible to even consider the generational damage being done to people. And it feels like genocidal. Like, honestly, like, if I mean, let's just put that on any race. Like, if you started doing that to any race, I mean, like, it's genocidal. And the fact that they're doing it to only people that are going to be deported, I'm assuming, if that, maybe they are doing it to others. That's kind of like where we start getting into a really fucked up place, is when you consider that they've shot Americans and, victim blamed them the whole time and called them domestic terrorists and, just painted them in this light to excuse what they're doing in the public space. What are they doing to immigrants and people that are detained? It's an absolutely horrific thought. And it's truly, when I discuss these things, there's like no shred of happiness to talking about these events within me. But it's mostly the fact, like I said, of getting that information out and hoping to be able to impact what most people probably won't know about. And, events like Renee Good and stuff like that, you kind of think for a bit just how real it gets. And the fact it could be any of us. So now we know. And man, there's going to be hell to pay. Fucking war crimes, man, on U.S. soil. That's what the MAGAs wanted, And we're going to pivot out of discussing that and those events, the sexual abuse that is being committed by ICE and Border Patrol agents all around the U.S. But that event is Texas, which is totally not surprising. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. But we're going to now head to Minnesota, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that for a second here, just because I saw this really interesting post that Carolyn Barber made. And it's mostly opinions from a judge, but what she says is really interesting. So the post goes, shocking, unusual times. Federal judge weighs constitutionality of Trump's surge. Roving patrols of masked men, kids tear gassed, schools locked down, troops fled in Minnesota at 10 times Chicago's numbers, assaults, arrests, deaths. Is there no limit to what the executive can do under the guise of enforcing immigration law? Mendez asked the judge. They're trying to coerce plaintiffs to legislate the way they want, hijack the state's legislative process, demand voter rolls. This kind of coercion violates the 10th Amendment. And, man, that is a hell of a statement. And just gotta leave you guys with that. You know, is there no limit to what the executive can do under the guise of enforcing immigration law? That is a banger, certified banger, if I may say. We're gonna move on here. As I said, we're gonna be chewing through a lot of these events that are just mounting. The bigger picture, as I said, guys, the big picture of practicing for essentially a civil war. And what's really interesting as well is that there is, for as much as they want to portray the left and these protesters as being leftists and progressives and portray them as violent and obstructionists, it's just people that are letting their voices be heard, people that are pissed off like me. And these people are way better than me because they're out there in like -15 wind chill, bro. Like, that's fucking insane. Can you imagine that? Seriously, -15. And of course, guys, all right, it's Fahrenheit. Fuck off. I don't know Celsius. Okay, just forgive me. Forgive me now. These guys are giants. I really don't know what else to say about the kind of people that would take time out of their lives to go and stand on the street and make their voices heard and say that this is fucked up. And for people that can't really like digest that, for people like the Trumpers that are super fucking confused as to why anybody would be appalled by this, by the murders and by the abuse and by putting a 40 millimeter fucking flashbang into a crowd and then having a woman pick it up because she doesn't fucking know any better, and then it exploding in her hand, causing her to lose her hand. People, there's really people that are like happy about that and say that, yeah, I voted for that. So just gotta air that fact out that there is seemingly no fucks given for any of the people killed or hurt amongst the far right. And it's very this is Trump's base of bases, guys. I mean, let's not mistake that. So there is a direct link, in my opinion, straight to the Oval Office for all of these deaths, for all these injuries. So we're going to continue on to the story here. It's Trump's ICE crackdown faces reckoning as outrage mounts over Alex Pretty's shooting. So this is a discussion, so to speak, where Waltz is talking about a call he had with Trump. And he said that we're on par. It was a productive call, and they're looking forward to reducing the number of federal agents in Minnesota. And Trump said that he was going to be doing that. So let's just understand here. These people have been shitting on Walz the whole time. I mean, just violently shitting on Waltz. And now they get on the phone and everything's hashed out, but it's just a reduction, so it's not hashed out. And then there's, they're going to be coordinating in a better fashion. Are you fucking kidding me? It's really disappointing to see from Waltz that there wasn't a harder push to get them out, period. I mean, these guys are stacking fucking bodies at this point, dude. But we're going to continue. So another thing is Tom Homan, that son of a bitch, the border czar, is going to be heading to Minnesota. And apparently they're going to be looking into fucking with Ilhan Omar because they have nothing fucking better to do. And isn't that fucking disgraceful, guys? Truly just fucking disgraceful. We can't really get to a point in America of being good, it's difficult for some reason for the federal government right now to do anything humanitarian, anything that doesn't just say we're pieces of shit. Is it just me? Okay. All right. So, last thing. This is an important one. And I want to leave everybody with this because it's truly just the most important thing to know right now. So there's a guy named Maher Tarabishi, and he lives in the U.S., has lived here for decades, and he cares for his 30-year-old son who has Pompe disease. It's a rare genetic condition. And Maher was detained in October. In October of 25. And he told them that he needs to care for his son or else he'll die. And it'll be his fault. It'll be their fault. What do you think happened? So, in December, Maher's son, Weil, is hospitalized. And Maher is constantly talking to ICE, constantly asking them to be able to go and take care of his son. It's denied. Then Weil dies. He dies from stomach infection. And I just can't help but feel that this is all so fucked up. And guys, I really can't overstate it. It's so beyond fucked up that this kid had to die. Well, not kid. I mean, he's a grown man. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't make me feel any worse. To be honest with you, I'm still fucking just. I read about this and I was just heartbroken, because his father asked to go to his funeral. And they're also denying him that. And would you guess why? he said that he is a member of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, is it? I don't know. But it's a militia in Palestine, as far as I remember. And I just find that so fucking disgusting. The way that they're able to paint everybody in the worst light so easily. It's disgusting. This is a failure of a government. I just cannot emphasize that enough. Absolute failure of an administration. Absolute failure of a president. Failure of the cabinet. This is among the hundreds, getting to thousands of people killed or wounded by ICE. All because morons wanted to see brown people deported. People must die because of their sick dreams that are now our nightmares. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I have another thing that I'd like to leave you with. Where's the Epstein list? Have you seen any mention of Epstein in the news lately? Do they think we've forgotten? And could you imagine what kind of people would think we would forget? How fucked up these people are if they think we forgot their crimes. You see, it's the playbook at this point. Trump will shit the bed, and then he'll take off his diaper and wipe it everywhere to keep you not focused on the fact he shit the bed. Man, I couldn't imagine a better ending to the American experiment than this fucking bozo. Truly. Could you imagine the founders finding out? Could you imagine that story in heaven or wherever? Finding Thomas Jefferson on a knoll somewhere and be like, yo, dude, we elected a pedophile. Be like, word? Yeah, and he bankrupted the country. He stole money from the people. And then he just started kicking people out and killing them when he didn't like them. Or when his goons didn't like him. Just their jaws dropped to the floor. There wouldn't be any world where this is okay, ever. There isn't. It's not okay, but unfortunately, people thought they wanted this. And the way the world works is that people have to be just hit in the face sometimes with reality and the reality of their consequences. Now, this is also the world of ultimate greed, where money rules everything, and the people without money have nothing, can have nothing. There's constant different ways to take your money. Constant ways for them to force you to hand your money to them. I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you guys for hanging out and listening to another episode of the Chug Life podcast. I love you all. If you haven't already, click follow, like, subscribe. Leave us a comment if you liked it, or if you didn't. Whatever you'd like. I'm here at the pleasure of you guys, I guess. So I'm going to be honest. This stuff, it's kind of gotten bummy lately. You know, I might be switching back up to doing some interviews here and there, and I might bring some folks on to help me get back into happier stories. Maybe we'll take a break from the real life shit, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe he dies tomorrow. Who knows? Have a good night, y'all.